She resembled a server in that outfit. Derisive chuckles erupted, transforming the CEO's daughter into the evening's punchline amid a multi-billion-dollar banquet. Yet mere moments afterward, as the smug billionaire clan boasted of their $750 million agreement, the young lady calmly raised her phone and directed its immediate termination. The whole venue fell silent, every gaze fixed on the woman they'd ridiculed. Within seconds, their $750 million dynasty collapsed in front of them. Olivia lingered near the magnificent ballroom's perimeter, facing away from the soaring windows that showcased Manhattan's skyline. Outside, city lights shimmered softly, a serene counterpoint to the dazzling sparkle of overhead chandeliers. Her gown was simple black fabric, nothing from a famous designer, no ornate details, just sleek lines that draped her figure with restraint. Loose waves of dark hair cascaded naturally, untouched by professional styling. Her face carried no cosmetics, no lip shine, only her innate beauty that didn't claim her for notice. At 24, she'd grown up in one of America's richest families, though no one would guess from her appearance. From childhood, her father had instilled in her the value of self-control, urging her to let deeds outshine showiness. Never flaunt, he'd told her years earlier, his tone even as he adjusted his tie on their vast property. Your value lies in your actions, not your attire. That night, however, among a crowd of tycoons and their pride, her understated style marked her as prey. The event was a lavish display, a radiant arena where fortune and influence unfolded live. Crystal stemware chimed, high heels tapped across polished stone, and each burst of laughter seemed rehearsed. The atmosphere hung thick with costly fragrances and raw drive. Tycoons and their relatives mixed, voices booming as they traded talk of transactions, ventures, and social rankings. Olivia had entered discreetly, aiming to fade into the scenery, her tiny purse pressed beneath one arm. She'd come to watch, to witness the $750 million investment pact her father had negotiated for months with the Harringtons. A clan infamous for cutthroat tactics and an obsession with controlling every space. That morning, she'd caught her father's hushed words over breakfast in their kitchen. "They're predators, Olivia," he'd murmured, swirling his coffee. "But their capital could transform our future." She'd nodded, already steeling herself for the evening, aware she was stepping into a predator's lair. She claimed a place by the windows, the chilled pane a subtle stabilizer against the crowd's warmth. Her hands stayed clasped ahead of her, posture composed yet vigilant. She hadn't arrived to cause drama or assert dominance. She simply wanted to gauge the people her father partnered with and view the agreement through his perspective. Before she could ease into the scene, though, a voice sliced through the background chatter. Trevor Harrington, heir to the fortune, swaggered over, his custom suit shining beneath the lights, his sneer keen as a knife. In his late 20s, with glossy hair and inherited arrogance, he believed charisma could be purchased. He halted invasively close, his scent overpowering, and bent forward. "That dress makes you look like waitstaff," he announced, volume high enough for surrounding tables to catch. Heads swiveled, cruel giggles rippled outward like a razor through silk. Olivia's grip tightened on her purse, yet her expression remained unshaken, eyes meeting his with zero hesitation. She stayed silent. Her stare alone forced a brief unease in him before he grinned wider. A woman opposite, earrings swinging like mini chandeliers, cocked her head and peered at Olivia. Claire, a gossip queen famed for biting remarks and viral posts, thrived on attention. "Darling, did you raid your mother's wardrobe for that?" she cooed, tone soaked in false sympathy. The table exploded in fresh laughter, some applauding as if at a comedy act. Claire reclined, sipping bubbly, gaze glued to Olivia, hunting for any fracture in her poise. Olivia's mouth opened briefly, as though words might come. Instead, she shifted her purse with intent and let quiet reply. The room's amusement swelled, but Claire's smirk wavered. She'd anticipated resistance. Hey, if this tale is resonating with you right now, pause for a moment, grab your device, smash that like icon, leave a thought, and subscribe to the channel. It means everything to share these experiences together. Let's continue journeying through these narratives side by side. The chuckling intensified, a surge sweeping the tables. A lady in a shimmering crimson dress, lips painted to match, bent forward. Marissa Harrington, Trevor's mother, excelled at smiling while stabbing backs. Malice glinted in her eyes as she projected her voice across the space. CEO's daughter. She resembles a broke college kid. She drawled, stretching each syllable for impact. The table detonated, their mirth bolder, as if they'd secured the night's diversion. A gentleman in formal wear, cufflinks likely costing more than Olivia's whole ensemble, shook his head and grumbled. Her dad must be mortified to parade her here. The barbs struck deep and intimate, yet Olivia held firm. She offered a subtle lip curve that stopped short of her eyes and sipped water deliberately. The glass cooled her palm, anchoring her amid the venomous swirl. A younger fellow, possibly a Harrington cousin, leaned in, tie askew, grin reckless and broad. Derek followed the family's cues blindly, always piling on. No offense, he claimed, palms raised in mock innocence. But you're hovering by the window like you're awaiting public transit. Certain this is your party. The table roared, some pounded surfaces, liquor sloshing. Olivia's shoulders stiffened an instant before she pivoted slightly, gaze catching the urban glow beyond. She offered no retort, but her head tilt, studying Derek's features, dimmed his smile. Amusement persisted, yet some attendees swapped looks, detecting an unspoken force in her calm. The table had become a war zone, each stare a missile, each murmur a bullet. A youthful lady with flawless golden ringlets, gown a waterfall of sparkles broadcasting wealth, leaned to her companion and Fox, whispered, "What's she doing here?" "She's out of place." Her friend, Rolex flashing on his wrist, snickered and piled on, "Perhaps she's misplaced. Direct her to the service door." The table thundered again, glasses raised in a toast to their own viciousness. Olivia lowered her glass with measured grace, as if positioning a chess piece. She avoided their eyes. She didn't require contact. Her quiet formed a barrier they couldn't breach, a subtle rebellion that hollowed their glee. A server hovered near Olivia, tray steady, eyes darting to her stained gown with a hint of compassion. Roughly her age, uniform pristine, yet hands rough from labor. He extended a clean napkin, voice hushed. "Mom, care for replacement." Olivia met his look, features easing just enough to register gratitude. She accepted the cloth, fingertips grazing his, and dipped her head. "Thank you," she replied, soft yet distinct. The exchange was minor, yet it pierced the din, reminding all that not every soul joined the Harrington circus. The server departed, but nearby patrons noticed. Their chuckles ebbed as they observed Olivia fold the napkin precisely on her lap. Dinner commenced, and the vibe altered briefly. Staff glided through, dishes rattling faintly as courses arrived. Olivia lifted her fork, hands unwavering, and tuned in as talk pivoted to the pact. The Harringtons shone now, hurling figures and forecasts like they owned tomorrow. Trevor lounged back, tone brash and self-satisfied. "This agreement will revolutionize the sector," he declared, eyeing his father, Richard Harrington, who affirmed with the assurance of perpetual victory. Richard, the family head, gray strands slicked neatly, suit immaculate, commanded the space. Olivia angled her head, eyes narrowing imperceptibly. She interjected, voice even and poised, slicing the clamor. "Markets are unstable currently. Your estimates ignore upcoming tariffs and Asian supply disruptions." The table hushed for a heartbeat. An elder tycoon, tie slackened, face etched from decades in negotiations, arched a brow. "She's correct," he muttered, almost privately. "Keener than my consultants." Several nodded, faces transitioning from scorn to intrigue. A lady in emerald leaned to her spouse, murmuring, "She's informed." The spouse agreed, gaze lingering on Olivia as if discovering her anew. Trevor's grin slipped, fingers clenching his stemware. "Fluke?" he barked, tossing his napkin down. Yet the atmosphere had shifted. A mirth dissolved into wary fascination. Attendees reassessed Olivia, puzzling over what they'd overlooked. A fellow in pinstripes, hair risseting, voice slick, bent forward, eyes squinting at Olivia. Victor, a Harrington associate who'd amassed wealth via brokered pacts and crushed rivals, spoke with feigned interest. Bold talk for thrift, store chick. "Where'd you pick up that brain?" "Local junior college." The table tittered, a few applauded the dig. Olivia halted, fork suspended above her dish, then placed it with a gentle ting. She fixed Victor, gaze unwavering, and queried, "Where'd you master judging folks by wardrobe?" The line was straightforward, free of bite, yet struck like a palm. Victor flushed, the table's chuckles faltered, some squirming. The reprieve was fleeting. Trevor, detecting the pivot, rose dramatically, seized his wine, and strolled to Olivia, pace languid to milk the spotlight. With a wrist flick, he, accidentally, doused her gown in red. Liquid spread across the dark cloth, seeping deep, pooling below. "Whoops, my bad," he sneered, sarcasm thick. "Now it suits your bargain look." The hall detonated in louder laughter, echoes bouncing off stone. Marissa applauded, thrilled, and tacked on, "A real CEO heiress would sport couture." The table lifted glasses, saluting their malice, eyes alight with glee. Some attendees averted gazes, expressions tense, aware the line had been crossed. A lady in silver, hair towering, rose to join. Evelyn, a remote Harrington kin who fed on rumors and status, clicked over, phone aloft, capturing the wine-soaked dress. "Straight to my feed?" she crowed, delighted. "Fans will adore the CEO spawn looking wrecked." The table whooped. Others drew devices, flashes illuminating. Olivia's hand lingered on the napkin, fingers curling faintly, yet she ignored Evelyn. Instead, she lifted her glass, sipped slowly, and replaced it with intent. The room's pulse dipped slightly, a few paused, devices lowering, intuition whispering trouble. Olivia eyed the blemish, fingertips grazing damp material. Fists clenched briefly, then eased. She rose, motion fluid and elegant, and confronted Trevor. Her tone was gentle yet razor-edged, piercing the uproar. "Do you honestly think looks define everything?" The query lingered, plain but profound, rippling like a pebble in calm water. Trevor gaped, then shut his mouth, assurance fracturing. A flushed gentleman blurted, "That's her father's exact demeanor." Some shifted, chuckles morphing to uneasy coughs. Olivia awaited no reply. She dabbed her gown with a napkin and resumed her seat, eyes icy. A man in a corner booth, suit rumpled, eyes skittish, leaned in, whispering. Paul, a mid-tier investor hitching to Harrington's success, craved loyalty displays. "Bet she's spying for Daddy," he said, audible to Olivia, probably jotting intel to relay. The table snickered. Some nodded agreement. Olivia's fingers traced her purse edge. She turned, meeting Paul's stare, and inquired, "What suggests I require notes?" The calm, near, curious tone weighed heavy. Paul recoiled, laughed choking. Room chatter dipped, glances exchanged, curiosity blooming about her identity. The Harringtons pressed on. Richard leaned in, voice thundering authority, eyes pinned on Olivia. "Your father's set to ink a $750 million pact with us." He boomed, dripping disdain. "You're irrelevant here." Marissa added, grin toxic. "Stay mute if you're wise." The table erupted, treating Olivia as scenery. Some shook heads, faces darkening, sensing excess. A lady in navy muttered, "This is turning nasty." Olivia remained still. She drew her phone, fingers firm, and typed. A young woman nearby, necklace gleaming, leaned in, tone playful yet cutting. Laya, an influencer chasing spotlight, calibrated every gesture for engagement. Han, at minimum borrow bling. She teased, flashing her diamond cuff. "This is a gala, not literature circle." The table guffawed, some mimicked, brandishing jewels. Olivia glanced at the bracelet, then Laya's face. She leaned slightly, voice subdued yet audible. "Does that cuff grant importance?" The directness, absent hostility, froze Laya, her arm dropped. Table laughter hiccuped, some turned, embarrassed. The room missed it initially, lost in self-congratulation. Then Olivia raised the phone to her ear, words low yet distinct. "Dad, cancel this deal. Immediately." The statement exploded. Laughter ceased. Glasses halted mid-lift. Richard's jaw slackened, fork clanging down. "Who do you think you are, meddling?" he barked, rising abruptly, chair scraping. But her father's voice boomed through the speaker, clear to all. "If my daughter requests it, the pact ends." Silence crushed the hall, oppressive and thick. A gentleman in navy, spectacles perched, rose, voice quavering outrage. George, a Harrington partner banking on ties, pointed. "Outrageous!" he yelled. "You can't barge in and torpedo a deal." The room hummed, some agreeing, others stunned. Olivia ignored him. She tucked the phone away, motioned serene, and clasped hands. The lawyer, newly arrived, hesitated, eyed her, then approached with a dossier. George flushed, volume climbing, but Olivia's quiet dwarfed his tantrum. She placed the device down, face neutral. No triumph needed. The Harringtons unraveled. Trevor's hands quivered, spilling more wine. Marissa paled, gripping her pendant, fingers shaky. Richard stuttered, "Sir, allow explanation." Line dead. Whispers rose, a growing hum. A lady in gold tapped frantically at her screen. A man murmured to his wife, "Did she just?" Olivia sat composed, hands folded, surveying the scene. A suited man entered briskly, briefcase tight, expression stern. He strode to Olivia, past the folder. She scanned, nodded. Then rose, voice firm yet even. "Proof here?" she stated, raising papers. "Contract nullified digitally 10 minutes prior. 0 cents from this." Gasps rippled. Phones emerged to film. Others craned closer. The Harringtons slumped, faces ashen. Trevor fixated downward, knuckles white on the table. A corner woman, shawl sliding, stood shakily. Diane, a family friend staking prestige on their win, pointed desperately. "Huge error," she pleaded, eyes bulging. Years of work wasted. Tension electrified. Olivia shut the folder, fingers steady, and met Diane's gaze. "Your error," she replied, calm yet piercing. "You presumed I was nothing." Diane's mouth gaped, then closed. Shawl dropped as she collapsed seated. Murmurs swelled, some nodding, others recording. Olivia's declaration settled heavily. Chaos reigned. A Harrington cousin, voice shrill, tie atrocious, shrieked, "You've wrecked our legacy!" Marissa gasped, trembling. "Consequences escape you." Olivia stood unmoved. She returned the folder precisely to the lawyer. Guests rose. Some dismayed, others whispering heatedly. A gowned lady muttered, "Knew she was different." A nearby man nodded. "No ordinary girl." Shock saturated the air, realization dawning. A fringe man, suit baggy, clutched his phone, face drained. Mark, a junior exec riding Harrington coattails, stepped up, voice unsteady yet loud. "Impossible," he declared, eyes flicking crowd wide. "You're a child wielding power blindly." Hush fell, awaiting reply. Olivia faced him, gaze locked, and stated softly, "I grasp power far beyond your reach." The whisper thundered. Mark staggered, phone tumbling, screen shattering. Murmurs intensified, some filming, others reeling. Olivia's phone vibrated. She checked, features easing briefly. She stowed it and headed for exit. The crowd split as she passed, pace deliberate, stained gown oddly majestic. Silence reigned. The Harringtons sat petrified, empire disintegrating live. Devices buzzed, bank warnings, urgent mails, accounts iced, assets sealed, pack drowned. Trevor blanched, staring tableward. Marissa clawed her husband's sleeve. A velvet-clad woman rose, hands shaking, voice cracking. Sophia, an ally built on their brand, wept, mascara streaking. "You're destroying all," she sobbed. Do you comprehend the fallout? Eyes turned to Olivia. She paused at the door, hand on knob, and glanced back to meet Sophia's. Precisely, she answered, steady, near kind. The blow landed final, Sophia crumpled, face buried. Whispers frenzied, flashes capturing. A tall, broad figure entered, aura instant command. Olivia's husband needed no introduction. The room's reaction spoke volumes. Guests straightened, chatter dying. Richard attempted rising, voice frail. Will resolve. He begged, sounding hollow. Trevor averted eyes, hands quaking. Marissa stared groundward, poise evaporated. The husband said nothing. He simply joined her, fingers brushing hers. She looked up, warmth flickered briefly in her gaze. Consequences struck fast. Morning headlines blared coast to coast. CEO Harris's single call annihilates 750M empire in moments. Social platforms raged. Trevor's wine spill clip exploded virally, captions condemning him. Board ousted him within hours. Marissa's charity blood sponsors by lunch. Richard scrambled in endless talks, salvaging scraps, numbers merciless, their realm erased by one directive. Evelyn's stained photo boomeranged, comments eviscerated her cruelty, account deleted by nightfall. Olivia didn't linger for the spectacle. She departed with her husband, stride firm, chin high. Next day, she sat in her father's office, another modest outfit, chairing discussions. Prior night unmentioned, unnecessary. New wary respect in every glance sufficed. She never boasted. Her quiet held power, her presence reshaped spaces. A nervous junior aide dropped files, whispering, saw the reports. You were amazing. Olivia nodded, face neutral, eyes softening an instant before resuming work. Years earlier, in a cozier room, her father signed documents, pen swift. 16-year-old Olivia, ponytail, sneakers worn from estate romps, watched. No need to prove a thing, he'd said, eyes on paper. Be yourself, that suffices. She'd nodded, hands pocketed, words etched forever. The memory surfaced occasionally, passing a similar car, hearing his laugh echo. The Harrington collapse extended beyond the gala. Trevor's face plastered everywhere, smirk now defeat. His online apology shredded in comments. Marissa's circle shrank, gala invites vanished. Spotted alone at a cafe days later, luxury bag mismatched against solitude. Richard's firm hemorrhage deals, backers fleeing. Claire scrubbed gala posts, followers plummeting amid outrage. Derek, crooked tie cousin, quietly axed, names scrubbed from sites. The Harrington title, once invincible might, became a warning fable. Olivia pressed onward. She skipped headlines, ignored trends. Too occupied in meetings, dissecting contracts, voice unwavering. Her father's trust lifelong. She'd observed him master rooms like the galas, calm amid chaos. Learned not just commerce but resilience when worlds attacked. At a board session days later, an exec paused, tone cautious. Thomas Olivia, your take on the fresh approach. She nodded, pen tapping softly, and delivered insight. Exact, immovable. You sensed it, right? That instant someone sizes you up and deems you lesser. They chuckle, convinced they've pegged you. Yet you know your truth, your value. You're not solitary. Olivia's tale isn't solely hers. It's yours. Where are you tuning in from? Drop a comment and follow to traverse heartbreak, deceit, and eventual renewal together.